All right, today we are diving into a really radical idea from a book that totally changed the game for millions of people when it comes to money. We're going to challenge the one single biggest financial belief that most of us have, the idea that your house is your greatest asset.
This right here, this one sentence, is the foundation for everything we're about to talk about. The whole point is that real wealth isn't about that big salary or a huge paycheck. Nope. It's about building a system, a machine that holds onto your money and grows it over time. But, and this is a big but, without the right know-how, even a massive fortune can just disappear.
I mean, get this. It's a pretty wild story. Back in 1923, a group of the world's most successful, most powerful financiers got together. These guys were the titans of industry. But fast forward 25 years, and look what happened. Their lives were just a complete mess. Bankruptcy, insanity, prison, even suicide. These were literally the richest men on the planet, and they lost everything.
So, what does that story tell us? It's pretty simple, really. Making a lot of money is not the same thing as knowing what to do with it. That gap, that's the difference between being rich for a little while and building wealth that lasts. It all comes down to financial intelligence, a skill that, let's be honest, most of us never learned in school.
Okay, so if financial smarts are the real key, how do you actually build that foundation?
Well, the book boils it all down to one incredibly simple but really profound rule.
So, I want you to really think about this for a second. If you want to be rich, what's the one thing you have to know? What would you guess? A high-paying job? A good savings account? The book argues it's way, way simpler than that.
And there it is. This is it. The only rule you really need to know. An asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes money out of your pocket. That's it. Forget all those complicated definitions you've heard before. It all comes down to one thing. Which way is the cash flowing?
And this right here is the fundamental difference in how people handle their money. Rich people spend their lives buying things that make them more money. Everyone else? Well, they spend their lives buying things that cost them money. And the most dangerous part? A lot of the time, they don't even know they're doing it.
It's a fair question, right? I mean, if the big secret to wealth is just one simple rule, why are so many people still struggling? Well, the answer in the book is pretty blunt, because most of us have been taught not to see the difference. We can't read the story that the numbers are trying to tell us. You know, to really get this, you've got to see it. So the book uses these super simple diagrams that show exactly how money moves through someone's life. This cash flow pattern, it tells the real story of your financial health.
All right, first up, let's look at the cash flow for a poor person. The income from their job comes in, and then it goes immediately back out to cover all the expenses. You know, taxes, rent, food, the basics. There's nothing left. The money never even makes it to an asset column. It's just a constant in and out cycle.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting, and maybe a little too familiar for some of us. The middle class pattern. A bigger salary comes in? Sure, but what's it used for? To buy liabilities. A mortgage, car loans, credit card debt, all these things take money out of your pocket every single month, trapping you in what the book famously calls the rat race. So, this is the big question. If those first two patterns just lead to a lifelong struggle, what's the secret? What are the rich doing that's so different? And here it is. This is the game changer. The rich focus on their asset column first and foremost. They buy things like rental properties, stocks, bonds, things that generate income. Then that income pays for their expenses, and this is the crucial part, it's used to buy even more assets. Their money starts working for them, creating this amazing upward spiral of growth. And that brings us to the single most challenging idea in the entire book. This is where that one simple rule smashes head-on into society's most common piece of financial advice. We have to ask the question, is your house really an asset? You've basically got two totally different ways of looking at your home. On one side, you have the conventional view, my house is my biggest asset, my greatest investment. But then you have this other view which uses that strict cash flow definition. It says, nope, my personal home is a liability. Why? Because it doesn't put money in your pocket. It only takes money out.
Look, when you own the house you live in, the cash only flows one way, out. You are constantly paying for property taxes, insurance, maintenance, utilities. It never stops. Even when the mortgage is finally paid off, those expenses are still there. So, based on our super simple rule, if it's constantly taking money from your pocket, what is it? It's a liability.
But it's actually worse than just the expenses. The real killer is the opportunity cost, what you're losing by tying up all your money in a house first. You lose all that time when your money could have been growing and compounding in real assets. You lose capital on repairs instead of investing it. And you lose the real-world education you get from actually being in the investment game.
Okay, so if a big house and a high net worth aren't the real goal, then what is? The book gives us a much better, much more practical way to think about wealth, and it lays out a clear strategy to actually go and build it. I love this definition because it completely reframes the whole idea. Wealth isn't just a number in your bank account, it's a measure of time. It's the ultimate test of your financial freedom. The question is simple. If you stopped working today, how many days could you survive? The answer to that question is totally determined by the cash flow coming from your assets. And boom, just like that, we have a clear finish line, a real target to aim for. The goal is to get to that magic point where the monthly income from your asset column is bigger than your monthly expenses. The second you cross that line, you don't need a job anymore. You are financially independent.
So the game plan is actually pretty simple when you lay it all out. First, you have to get that one simple rule burned into your brain. Then you focus all of your energy and extra money on one thing, buying assets that put cash in your pocket. You take that cash and buy more assets, and all the while you keep your expenses low so you can pour more fuel on that fire.
So let's bring this all home. The point here isn't to tell you don't buy a house. The point is to convince you to build your asset column first, so that eventually your assets can pay for your house. So the final question for you isn't if you'll start, but how. What is the first income-generating asset you're going to build?